Today's Toy Spot, we're having a look at the Neca Gremlins Series 2 Combat Gizmo. By far, this was the figure of the Gremlins line that I was looking forward to the most. We have already gotten a Gizmo, as you can see right here. I've already done a review of him. But by far, definitely the one I was looking forward to the most was Combat Gizmo, depicted from the very end of Gremlins 2, just when Gizmo has had enough. He has had enough of being walked all over and picked on by the other Gremlins, that this Mogwai said, enough is enough, it's time for a change. Package-wise, the package is continued over from the Series 1. There's really not a lot in the way of packaging, as the back card is just a solid white. There's really not a lot going on with it, but the fact that it's just a basic white, it only adds to bringing out the details of the actual figure. He looks fantastic in packaging. Down below, he looks happy, but let me tell you though, Gizmo has had enough. This Gizmo, as well as the other Mogwais, all feature posable eyes. See details on back. This comes to us, again, from the good folks at Neca. On the back, you can collect them all. Of Series 1, there was Gizmo. Oh wait, let me zoom in here. There was Gizmo, there was George and Lenny. And then Series 2, there's Daffy, Combat Gizmo, and Mohawk. Another one I was looking forward to getting. There is the Combat Mogwai right there, fully armored up. Roll track bar to move Mogwai eyes 360 degrees. There as well. What I am going to do is take a bit of a break. I'm going to get this opened up. When we come back, we are definitely going to have a better look at Combat Gizmo. Oh, don't go anywhere, my friends. Stay tuned. The accessories you'll get with Combat Gizmo, we'll zoom in. For starters, he has an arrow, which is very cool because in the movie, of course, it's made by a pencil. As you can see, really nice work on actual pencil. Aside from it being small, it definitely looks like a pencil. And then on the end, he lights that and fires it at Mohawk. Now on the package, they've indicated that you can tuck the arrow into his belt. Maybe we'll get into that in a second. The other accessory that Gizmo does have is his paperclip bow. I think everybody, at least myself at least, I know after watching the new batch, the first thing I did when I saw a paperclip, was I the only one? Anyone else? Didn't you try to make the arrow, the little bow, sorry, that Gizmo used? Okay, maybe it was just me. But you also get the arrow, or the bow, which is also very cool. As for Gizmo, I love this figure. Love it. He's got himself his little Rambo bandana on. Detailing on him is phenomenal. There is a little tag on the back, which you can pull out. And once you pull that out, this will be the trackball that will operate Gizmo's eyes. The eyes seem to move a lot freer than I think I had the problem with the initial Gizmo. Something also that I want to commend Neca for is the fact that when I first saw Combat Gizmo, I simply thought it was the exact same figure and they just put a bandana on him. As a comparison, you can see here is Combat Gizmo, here's regular Gizmo. Definitely different face. Original Gizmo had the open mouth. This Gizmo has the mouth closed. Of the two, I like this Gizmo a lot more. His face looks awesome. I don't mind the fact that his mouth is open in the original Gizmo, but I really love this face. And it also looks like his eyes are a little more closed than that of the original Gizmo as well. Body-wise, it looks like the exact same body. This one had a little more brown going on in there. This one is definitely a lot whiter. But if given the choice, I mean, hands down for me, Combat Gizmo wins. Oh, and also, let me also reiterate too, his hands. Let's not forget his little Mogwai hands. His hands are definitely a lot different as well, in the fact that the original Gizmo had open hands. He's in for a hug. Aw, Gizmo. It's alright, buddy. It's alright. Whereas this one's got fists clenched. He is ready to do some gremlin slaying action. Now, I haven't tried this yet. Let's see if I can actually get the bow and arrow in his hand. The bow, the one hand for starters as well, the bow, you can see that his hands are very, very closed. We have to kind of pry the fingers from the thumb area here. See if we can get the... Because something I want to comment quickly on too is the fact that his arrow, or sorry, his bow, I keep calling his arrow, but his bow feels very fragile. It's made of a very thin plastic that if you're not careful, you could definitely break. And I'm having a slight bit of trouble getting it in his hand, just because it's such a, as you can see, it's such a fine wire. There's even like an impression where I've made just by trying to get it into his hand. The last thing I want to do, oh, I'm not even going to say it. You know where Spot was going to go with that. The last thing I want to say, I definitely don't want to jinx things. Perhaps we can try it in this hand. Perhaps. Try to get it into his hand. Let's actually see if the arrow fits into his hand for starters. Again, the plastic feels a little brittle on the actual arrow part of the, being that's, you know, just a thin piece of plastic. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not having a great time of trying to get this into his hand. Oh, there goes his hand by starters. Don't worry, it's pegged in. It's not going to... Luckily, it's not broken. Peg that into place. There we go. No. Yeah, I don't know. I'm having not the easiest of times trying to get the arrow or the bow into his hand, being that the hands are so closed. Obviously, for someone like Combat Gizmo, I would want to have his weapons actually in his hands. Let me actually just pause the video. Let me get his hand together. Hold on one second. Hold on. There we go. All right, at least the hand's back into place. It troubles me the fact that I can't seem to get this arrow or the bow into his hand here. I mean, I would really have loved to actually get that. There we go. Did I get it? All right. Woo! Woo! All right. Well, we got the bow at least in his hand. The other thing I want to comment on is he's actually got a real cord, like a real rope around his waist. Something else that I really thought was going to be just plastic. This is really nice. I like the fact that they've included this. According to the back of the picture, the back of the card, there should be enough clearance to get the arrow into his back, like so. Being for how much trouble I've had trying to get the arrow into his hand, that's likely how I'm going to display him. Bow, and then his arrow in the back there. Not his back, but you know what I mean. And there you have a very, very awesome looking Mogwai. All that, and Spot's just going to take it out of his hand anyways, but I'm going to put that to the side, put his arrow to the side. In the way of Combat Gizmo's articulation, it would be the same as the other Mogwais. He has a ball-jointed head. As mentioned, he's already got the 360 eyes. His ears also are on a rotation. Look like they're just individually pegged. They might actually, you know what, be on a ball joint as well. His arms are on a ball joint. They move in and out all the way around. His forearms are also on a ball joint. His hands are also on a ball joint, as well as his legs. And nothing, his feet aren't moving or anything like that. They're just solid piece to his legs. But I am very, very happy with this gremlin, Mogwai. He is definitely my favorite of the gremlins that we've gotten so far. and I certainly can't recommend him enough. If you got this guy, which I loved already, don't overlook getting Combat Gizmo. I think he's a much better looking face. The paint looks a lot more vibrant on him, and I mean, certainly you can't go wrong with the fact that he comes with not only an arrow, a bow, thank you, a bow, as well as an arrow. The only real complaints I could probably make are the fact that the arrow feels very flimsy, and definitely this feels very flimsy as well, but due to the nature of, you know, scaling and how big these accessories had to be, I mean, there was really no way around it anyways, which, you know, it's just one of those things that you have to be careful with when displaying Combat Gizmo. Combat Gizmo, let's just get the accessory in his hand here. Combat Gizmo, I'm going to give him a very satisfying 10, which I also think is the same rating that I gave the original Gizmo, and both, if you ask me, are still well deserving. If you can only get one, I would probably say go with Combat Gizmo. Get both, but I mean, if you can only get one, I would definitely go with Combat Gizmo. This is definitely something that looks awesome on a shelf. Today's Toy Spot, we're having a look at the Neca Gremlins Series 2 Mogwais, and today we're having a look at Combat Gizmo. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.